Hi everybody, Ybarra Maldonado here. Want to give you a little bit of advice today on how to go about hiring a criminal attorney. The reason I want to do this is because I've seen so many people here in my office in tears because the attorney that they gave money to didn't do anything for them, or even worse, did something that made their life miserable and possibly resulted in a longer prison sentence or even in a deportation in some cases that I've seen too. So there's really three key areas that I want you to focus on when you're going to look to hire a criminal attorney. The first one is experience. What kind of experience does this attorney have that I'm sitting across from? Is this person someone that's won jury trials in Superior Court? Have they won jury trials in federal court? Have they submitted motions to dismiss that have resulted in the case being completely thrown out? Remember, there's two ways to go about winning a criminal case. One is a not guilty verdict after trial, and two are good motions that are put in that result in throwing out the evidence or the government or the judge dismissing the case completely. So you want to make sure that before you hire someone that they have the necessary experience to defend you in your court case. Along with the trial experience and motions experience, you want an attorney who has worked your kinds of cases before, right? The area of criminal law is very broad. You can have a misdemeanor case, DUI, domestic violence, in municipal court. You could have a serious felony, drug case, aggravated assault case in Superior Court. You can have an illegal reentry, a drug case, a smuggling case in federal court. It might not necessarily be that the attorney you're working with feels comfortable in federal court, but they really feel comfortable in Superior Court, or vice versa, and maybe even someone only does DUIs in misdemeanor court, and that's the person you need because you don't need an attorney that's done jury trials in federal court if you're just charged with a misdemeanor DUI in municipal court, but somebody there has done 30 of those trials. That'd be more the person that you would want to hire. So we want to make sure that you have someone with experience, and we want to make sure also that the person that you're hiring is going to be there with you in the courtroom, right? So you want to ask the question, who is going to be the person that is representing me? Is it going to be you, attorney, the one that's talking to me, the one that's telling me how much experience you have? Are you going to be the one that's going to my court hearings? In addition to that, if you're not a citizen, or if your family member is not a citizen, if they're a legal permanent resident, if they don't have any immigration status, it's very important to ask the attorney, do you know the immigration consequences of criminal convictions, and specifically the charge that's being levied against me? If you're a U.S. citizen, you don't have to worry about that. But for anybody else, that is so important. You can have a very aggressive, very good attorney that thinks, I know how to beat this case, or I know how to get a great plea that avoids jail or prison. But at the end of the day, that conviction is going to result in your automatic deportation. So someone that's an amazing criminal lawyer might not necessarily know the immigration consequences, which isn't the end of the road. All you have to do, if the person doesn't know that, is go hire an immigration attorney and say, I want to hire you just to review and talk with my criminal defense attorney about the immigration consequences so I know before I plead guilty what those consequences will be. And third, we want to make sure we know who is going to be handling the case. Is it just that attorney that we talked about that has all the experience, or is it a junior associate that has just graduated from law school and doesn't really know what they're doing? Be clear about that before you sign a contract. I often tell people, why don't you meet your public defender first? Why? Because they're free and they're oftentimes very good. Public defenders get a very bad reputation. People think, oh, they work for the government, they're paid by the government, they're not going to fight for me at all. That's not necessarily always going to be the case. You might be able to save yourself thousands of dollars and get better representation if you work with a public defender versus hiring a private attorney. The reason I say that is because I, before having my own law firm, was a public defender in Cochise County. I was an assistant federal public defender in federal court down in Tucson. And I know if I had gotten your case back then, I would have worked it just as hard as I work the cases today. And there is a lot of great people in both of those offices and here in Maricopa County as well. So give your public defender a chance. If you're not getting along, if they're not returning your calls, if they're not reviewing disclosure with you, then okay, then that makes sense to say, hey, you're not what I need. This is the most important decision perhaps in my life, and I need someone who's going to take this very serious. Then you can hire a private attorney. Always talk to 3 attorneys before you sign a contract with one. Ask them these same questions to make sure that you know you're getting an experienced attorney, a competent attorney, and who's going to be handling your case. If you could do me a huge favor and give us a like on Facebook, or if you're watching on YouTube, follow us there as well. We want to make sure that we can keep putting out videos and you know about them. If there's any kind of video that you want to know more about, feel free to put it in the comments, and I will try to get another one out for you guys. Thank you so much.